Welcome to the Rebel to Succeed podcast. It's your boy, Anthony Williams, the founder of RebelToSucceed.com. The purpose of this podcast is to share tips, advice, and strategies to help you improve in all areas of your life. My mission is to make a positive difference in your life to help you live your best life. Now let's get it. What up, good people? It's your boy, Ian from Rebel to Succeed, coming at y'all with another podcast episode. In this episode, I wanted to talk about just people learning from their mistakes. I feel like a lot of people, they kind of put themselves down when they make mistakes, when they mess up. Just quite frankly, when they just mess up, when they drop the ball on something, and they just do something that's not correct. Hopefully you guys get the point. When people make mistakes, I want to talk about mistakes and how that, people shouldn't be afraid of mistakes. People shouldn't want to avoid making a mistake. People shouldn't want to avoid messing up. When you make mistakes, when you mess up, when you fail, when you do something wrong, that opens the gate up to be able to learn. I feel like a lot of people, they kind of miss that point. If you ever notice when you actually make a mistake, that opens your world up, your universe up to be able to learn to not make that mistake again, to not do something, the wrong way. You have to learn the right way. You would never know there's a right way if you never did it the wrong way. You know what I mean? So mistakes are major. And if you look at, some of the most highly successful people in the world, I can guarantee you that they all made a lot of mistakes. They kind of just basically fast track their way to success by making mistakes and learning from their mistakes. Now, I will say this, it's not very smart to, continue to make a mistake, continue to do something one way and expect to get, different results. If you keep making the same mistake and you expect, to get, a different result, that's kind of like, I think somebody deemed it as insanity. You know what I mean? Like you can't expect to keep doing the same thing, keep making the same mistake and expect, anything to change. You know what I mean? So you have to learn from your mistakes. You have to learn from, your mess ups. You know what I mean? Just like, again, if you look at some of the most successful people in the world, I remember hearing or seeing a quote from Michael Jordan, I think he said this in one of his interviews at one point. He said something along the lines of, I've failed and failed over again. Actually, it was a commercial. Yep, it was a commercial. He said, he said something along the lines of, I've been counted on to make, X amount of shots in the game. I've missed those shots. I've, been counted on to make, the game-winning shots. Didn't make it. What did he say? Yeah, basically, I don't want to mess up his whole thing, but he was saying that he's been counted on to make a certain amount of shots a game or something like that, and he missed a lot, he's failed a lot, and that's why he succeed. You know what I mean? So that's basically the point that I was trying to get to, is that Michael Jordan is kind of he is deemed as one of the basically is one of the best basketball players in the world. If not the best basketball player in the world. So those are his words. You know what I mean? He said, "I failed and failed and failed over and over and over again, and that is why I succeed." And so it's kind of like, it's to some people it may be like it's weird because it's like, well, how can he fail so much and succeed? And he succeeds, by failing so much because he took his failures, he took his mistakes, and he learned from them. You know what I mean? He learned from them. And that's the whole point of mistakes. Us as human beings, we learn from failure. We learn from messing up. You see what I'm saying? Like, you have to. I know me personally. I learn from experience. I learn from doing stuff. You know what I mean? I gotta bump my head a couple times. For me to actually get it. You know what I mean? I learn from repetition. I love repetition. Actually, I love doing something over and over and over again. And me personally, if I have that type of personality, I want to be doing over and over and over again things that's going to help me to succeed. Because I feel like the repetition, my I like repetition, so I feel like that can help me to succeed in whatever I decide to do. You know what I mean? So success is I feel like success is well in the grasp of people who love repetition and doing things over and over again and over again, because you're good at keeping a routine. You know what I mean? You're good at sticking to the one thing. You're good at being consistent at that one thing. Just being repetitive. So you don't want to be repetitive in doing the wrong thing. Like I said before, you don't want to keep doing one thing the wrong way and expect to see some success from that. Like, it's not feasible. So, but yeah, I don't want to veer off topic, but mistakes is a plus. I want you guys to change your mindset on how you view success and how you view failure. They're kind of like best friends in a way. You know what I mean? Because if you don't fail and you don't learn and you don't fall down, you'll never know how to get back up. You'll never learn. You know what I mean? So embrace failure. Embrace I talk about this a lot, but even embrace being out of your comfort zone. Embrace doing things that you're not comfortable with. Embrace fear. You know what I mean? You learn, when you hop out of your comfort zone as well. You know what I mean? So you have to, just embrace things, embrace the scary things, embrace the things that that you're afraid of, but also embrace the things that you don't like. You know what I mean? Because you can learn from those things. You know what I mean? Embrace just failure in itself. You know what I mean? So I encourage you guys to focus on improving in that way. You know what I mean? Because that's how a lot of successful people has gotten to where they've gotten. You know what I mean? So if you kind of look at it, right? If you look at let's say you want to take a course on how to let's say you want to take a course on how to build a house, right? So you want to take a course on that, or you want to buy a course, right? What you're buying, right? What you're buying is someone's someone's lessons from their mistakes. Someone has went through the process of trying to build a house. Someone has, made a lot of mistakes in the process of trying to build that house, and they got the answers to their problems, and they figured it out. They learned from it, and now they are, teaching you how to do it without the mistakes. You see what I'm saying? So you're literally buying just the fast track to success, because you don't have to go through all of the failures, all of the mistakes, all of the hardships. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to worry about that. You're buying everything that works already. But for that person to be able to sell that course, they had to have failed. They had to have, encountered some problems, encountered some opposition, they had to figure some things out. You know what I mean? And they learned. That's how they learned how to build a house. You know what I mean? One step at a time, learning from their failures, solving their problems throughout the whole process. So, I mean, that's how we learn. You see what I'm saying? That's how we learn. If you didn't have schools, if there wasn't schools, you would be, if you didn't have like Google or anything, if you didn't have YouTube, because these are, ways for people to be able to learn. If you didn't have books, if you wasn't able to communicate with other people, and you just had to learn everything on your own from your own experience, you would learn the hard way. You would learn the long way. You would learn from doing something, making a mistake, and figuring out how to, learn from that mistake, figuring out how to solve your problems. You know what I mean? You would learn from your failures. And it would take very, very long, because you can't go and ask somebody, well, how do you do this? You can't go and ask somebody who already did it. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to, paint a picture for you guys on how important, failure is and how learning is. Like, I had to learn that myself. Like, I understand that, the way that, I'll say this first. I understand, it's not fun failing. It's not fun making mistakes, especially the way that society, they don't shine a light on people's failures. You know what I mean? Because, in society's eyes, failure is not good. You know what I mean? But it actually is. If you got to shift your mindset, if you understand how important failure is, to success, and how that's how you learn. It may sound crazy when I say this. It may sound a little weird, but you guys got to see it from a different perspective. People should be celebrating their failures. When you fail a lot, you open the door to learn a lot. You know what I mean? Like, you open the door to be able to learn from your mistakes. You have to mess up. You see what I'm saying? You have to mess up to be able to learn. That's with anything. Somebody had to mess up to be able to solve a problem. You know what I mean? So it's not a bad thing. You know what I mean? It's not a bad. I know a lot of people are not gonna, celebrate failure. Everybody always wants to, they want to celebrate the good things, the success. Oh, he made it. You know what I mean? But nobody celebrates all of the the hardship and the struggles that you had to go through. I mean, that in itself is, you're learning from that. You see what I'm saying? Like that's the journey. That is, that's the I mean, it really that's the good times right there, you know what I mean? Because that's how you learn, that's how you grow right there. So I'm not, talking from a, place of, I'm holier than now. Or not really holier than now, but I'm not talking from, a place of I'm better than anybody, because I'm still learning that concept myself. You know what I mean? Like, again, I share information that I'm learning myself, that I've either learned, I'm learning, or you know what I mean? Like either those two things. I'm either learning it or I've learned it already, and I just share it. You know what I mean? I love to share the things that I'm actually learning, though, because I feel like you guys can relate to that a bit more. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm learning, and I'm actively practicing in my own life myself. Is trying to drill it in my head, like, yo, when I mess up, it's not a bad thing. The only time I feel like when you mess up and it's a bad thing is when you mess up and you don't sit back and analyze why did you mess up, or how can you get better. You know what I mean? There's no point in messing up and failing and you don't learn from it. Like, you're missing the whole point of you're missing the beautiful part of it. You know what I mean? Like, and I know a lot of people may not think that it's a beautiful piece to the whole failure part, but it is, because again, that's how you grow. That's how you learn. You have to change your perception. You have to change your mindset, and into believing that, because that's how it works. You know what I mean? That's how it works. If you study, any majorly successful person, I can get, like, when they tell you their journey to success, oh, well, people celebrate I'm I have a very successful business. I have a very, my business makes, $5 million a year. You know what I mean? But they don't shed light on what it took to get there. All of the failures that they had to go through to get there. And that's the part that I want to know. You see what I'm saying? Like, forget the whole $5 million. You know what I mean? That's cool and all. Very, very good. But I want to know how did you get there? Like, what were the things that you had to go through? What were the things that you learned? Like, how did you get over the failures? What was the problems that you had to solve to get to where you are right now? That's what I want to know. And that should be the questions that you should be asking anybody who you want to learn from. You know what I mean? Anybody who you want to, who you consider a mentor, who you want to model after. You want to know, what were the failures that they had to, what were their failures? What did they had to learn? What were the problems that they had to solve to be able to get to where you want to be? So, again, that's a mindset thing. A lot of people, they only see the physical part of success, and I personally believe that success is more of a mental thing than it really is a physical thing. You know what I mean? Like, again, you do have to take action to achieve your goals and stuff like that. But, anybody can do the actions. But when it gets tough and you got to, solve a problem and you got to learn from your failures and your mistakes, a lot of people tend to give up. A lot of people tend to, just say, oh, it's not for me. And they try a different route. You know what I mean? Or not even really a different route. They just stop altogether and they just go, they just stop altogether and they just quit. And that's not the way that you learn. You know what I mean? Like, you have to go through the failures to learn. So you got to accept that part. Just embrace the failure, just right from the jump. When you start something new, Like if you want to start a business and you want to have a successful business, you want to, in your head, because this is inevitable, but in your head, you should be thinking, okay, I'm looking to just mess up. And again, I know that it sounds kind of, messed up. You know what I mean? It kind of sounds, what's the word? It may sound counterintuitive, or, for lack of better words, I'll say, counterintuitive or backwards. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't want to, people hear that, like, you don't want to mess up. You don't want to fail. Like, you want to succeed. Right, but in order for you to succeed, you have to learn from your mistakes. You got to make some mistakes to learn how to, you know what I mean, to get to the end. You know what I mean? So that's how I'm looking at certain things. You know what I mean? That's how I'm looking at certain things. Like, whenever I'm trying to, learn some new things, I want to, get out there in the field, and I want to mess up, man. I want to just fail hard. Like, I want to fail fast. I just want to just keep failing, get all of the failures out of the way, so I can learn as much as possible, so I can speed up my learning curve and get to where I want to be in the end. You know what I mean? Like, that's how you kind of speed up the process, is you just focus on failing as much as possible. Go out and just fail. Just mess up. You know what I mean? And I guarantee you're going to learn. You're going to learn really fast. Okay, well, I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't do that. You know what I mean? And you're going to get better. But if you go out and you avoid failure, if you avoid making mistakes, then it's going to take you that much longer to actually get to where you're trying to get to. And I know it may be hard for people because, again, nobody wants to feel like they're stupid, like they're dumb, like they're a failure, like they're a loser. And I understand, you know what I mean? Again, I'm going through it myself, but I don't want to be, I have goals and I have time limits on my goals. Like, I don't want to, I want to meet those, time limits. I want to meet those goals in a certain amount of time. Like, I'm not trying to, I don't want to, like, say for instance, if you're trying to become, very prosperous, if you're trying to become very rich, you know what I mean? You don't want to make $1 million when you're 88. You know what I mean? You don't want to start when you're 20 and then become a millionaire when you're 88, all because you wanted to avoid, making mistakes throughout that whole time. No, I mean, it's like by the time you 88, you about on your way out. You about on your way out. You know what I mean? So it's like you want to, be successful now. So you're going to have to go through your failures now. Like, it's just a part of the process. You're going to have to mess up to be able to get to where you want to be at. So, it's kind of like, just hurry up and get it over with. You know what I mean? Because you're going to have to learn it at some point anyway. So you gotta stop trying to avoid the pain. Stop trying to, like, that's really what it boils down to, is people is just, they're afraid to feel pain. But again, if you look at a lot of people, a lot of if you ask them, right, a lot of successful people, they'll say, my pain is one of my, me going through these rough times, me, going through these problems has, all of that pain has pushed me to be successful. You know what I mean? All of that pain motivated me to get to where I wanted to be at. So, just face it. You know what I mean? You got to just face it and just go through it, and kind of speed up that process. Speed up that process. Learn from it, and don't worry about the pain. I guarantee you that in the end, you will thank yourself. So yeah, that's your boy Ant from Rebel to Succeed. I wanted to share that with you guys. Just the success in that, and learning from your mistakes, learning from your failures. If you love this content, I invite you to, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to all of my other channels as well. Like you can visit, my website, and just leave some comments, if you got any questions, I'll answer your questions. And it's your boy Yan from Rebel to Succeed, and I'll talk to you guys in the next episode. I want to thank you for joining me today and listening to this podcast. If you found this episode helpful or valuable in any way, then I encourage you to leave an honest review and subscribe to the Rebel to Succeed podcast for future episodes. To receive more content and value, make sure to visit the Rebel to Succeed website at www.rebeltosucceed.com. And finally, always remember that to succeed in life, you have to reach everyone by exercising love. So make sure to show somebody some love today. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you next time.